Hello viewers and welcome to Pillar TV. This is Sharpbusiness, your #1 business show in Kenya. And today we are in the capital and we are talking to none other than Mary Muthoni, who holds a number of awards. She's an entrepreneur and a mother at the same time. Today we have paid her a visit. We want her to tell us what she has for women. Welcome, Madam.
Thank you very much, Mr. Molo.
Good to see you.
And good to see you, and thank God that this has finally happened. So I'm excited.
Yeah, good to see
Welcome to the city.
Yeah, it feels good. Even to see it.
Yes.
Yes. Now, who is Mary Muthoni?
Well, Mary Muthoni is one Kenyan woman. She's an entrepreneur, and she's a mother, as you have said. I run my school. It's called St. Petro Premier School. It's in Embu County. And as we had chatted, I told you that I'm one of the people who believed in devolution before anybody else started believing in that. And that's why I talk of my school, which is in Embu County, St. Petro Premier School. I also am a mother. I have 4 children, and I am a wife. I have 1 husband. And I also sit in the National Board of the Kenya National Chamber of Commerce, which is the apex body of the private sector. I am a director in charge of Central Kenya, which constitutes of the 5 counties, basically the former province, which is Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Kirinyaga, Nyeri, Murang'a, Kiambu, and Nyandarua. And so to speak, by extension, I chair the caucus for the women in business in the country, which currently is one of the most vibrant institutions that we can talk about, or group platform in Kenya today, because of the many things that we are doing. I'm one person who is very passionate of what I do in every aspect. And at the same time, I create a lot of empathy around me. And that's what drives me into doing the kind of things that I do with the women, the kind of things I do at the chamber, the kind of things I do at Mashinani. So the rest, I have gone to school. I trained as a teacher and taught for 10 years. And I taught in a school called Moi High School, Birodi. And then I transferred to a school called Moi Girls School, Nairobi. I only taught in Moi schools before I said it's enough, and I needed to go and get more challenging roles out there. And that's when I set up my businesses. I also run a company that does trade facilitation, because I realized there are so many challenges and so many issues that are prohibiting people from investing, people from trading, people from county engagement. So I assist people on a day-to-day basis with that. And of course, being in the chamber, it's the platform, the best platform. It's the house of the business community. It's where to be at any one time if you're in business. So that is Mary Muthoni for you.
Wow.
And moving forward, I am very passionate about my country and what the country is doing for us. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. And Mary, about the part of empathy, I've actually realized that through experience and the things that you do. See, the first time I met you, I didn't know that you had that love for women and the way you want women to be empowered. And you've actually seen, from experience,
yes,
the way they used to say that women belong to the kitchen.
yes.
That things are changing.
Yes.
Now, what are the strides you've made as women in the business world so far?
Well, business, the environment in the business world is driven by the policies that the government has created. And that is why we also keep saying that we need a few women in the leadership arena. We need a few women. The 2/3 idea has been floating for quite a while now. And I can say we are not in the days that we used to be during the Beijing. We have moved steps. And so to speak, that is why you're seeing even we have opportunities that the government is churning to the people, to the special groups, that is the women, the youth, and persons with disability. And so to speak, apart from just going back to the political arena on how many women are advocating for this, we have seen more and more women moving from the SME level, moving to the corporate level. Going back to what even the government is championing right now, the manufacturing, the agriculture, the health, and all that, you will find more women more attached to these pillars to ensure that we are having the female, the male-dominated areas also being attractive to the women, you see. And this is in terms of policies that have already been put in place and which are very conducive for the woman.
And now when you talk about those policies, the government gave you 30% for the youth and for the women.
Yes.
Is there an undertake or an uptake?
I'm sorry to say that 30% procurement rule is not doing really well. But on the flip side, that is the best thing that happened in Kenya. Just the other day I was in Mauritius for the Indian Ocean countries. And when I spoke about the 30%, they think I come from heaven, you see. Because some of these things, they are not seen in countries like India or thereabout. I mean, Yemen, you won't find something like that. Somalia, what you'll find, maybe it's war. Yeah. So when we talk about women in Kenya being given the 30% procurement rule being set aside for women, the youth, and persons with disability, it is a strong conversation. It is a strong signal that has been sent. However, the challenge comes into where do we have the trickling, or where do we seal the holes so that we can have more women going for these opportunities. Unfortunately, and so to speak, if you go back to mashinani, you'll find that the woman, the youth, they think the governor is the one who has the tenders.
Yes.
But what the government is saying is any institution that belongs to the government has the mandate to give the 30%, to set aside the 30% to the woman, the youth, and persons with disability, including that school which is down there. Just walk in there if you're a woman and if you're watching me. Just go and tell the principal, I want to see your 30%, which you have set aside. This Skuma Wiki that is taken to the schools, be it Kabare, Mutira, or wherever, they are supposed to set aside 30% for women, the youth, and persons with disability. If that is understood, we will not have problems of people going to mile around the governor's office and thinking that that is the only place or that is the only person we can trade with. There are very many ways of getting this done. And for us, we know there are challenges, but the challenges are going to be sorted out by ourselves. The government can only do much, this much. We have to do our part. We have to play our part. And our part is, from the Chamber of Commerce, we have a very ambitious project, and we feel this is going to get to the woman who is at the level, the lowest level. We call it the Women in Business Mashinani. We will come up to the ward level, including the Nyumba Kumi level. And we want to pick that woman who has some entrepreneurial spirit. We want to tell her that you cannot benefit from any government opportunity, may it be at the governor or the presidency or the schools I'm talking about, if your business is still operating informally. You have to ensure your business is registered, because that's the only way the government can know that you exist. You have to have the documents. We want to tell you, don't go shouting and saying things are not working and you have not done your bit. We will come even with that office, if it means carrying the offices to mashinani. We will come with the officers because they are on the ground. But I feel they are underutilized. So we tell you, get your documents in place. In 30%, we have something called the AGPO certificate, the access to government procurement opportunity. You must have that if you ever want to benefit from the 30% procurement. You must be known to pay tax. So you must have the PIN, which is given through KRA, the Kenya Revenue Authority. If you don't have the PIN, how do we know how your business is, whether it's paying tax and all that? So compliance is very, very important, because the government and its people, it's a give and take. We pay taxes. That money will come back to us. It's like moving. So we have to help the government if we want the government to help us. Number one. Two, the procedures. Many a times is when I do supplies sometimes, and I see most women, when they want to supply to the government, they'll just go pick the papers, fill them, drop them, and go home and wait to be called. It won't happen in this time and age. If you have done some procurement to a certain office, ensure you keep following. Ensure when the tenders are being opened, you are there. That you have known you are not the lowest. And if you are not the lowest, where did you go wrong? The courts are open. We have not been prohibited to take anybody in court in case they are contravening with whatever that is on the table. So that should be known very much. And the government has strengthened these institutions to ensure that we are comfortable when we are doing our businesses. I think I can talk and talk about the 30% because it's something which is very close to my heart, and I really feel it's an opportunity which is underutilized. Right now we could be at 10% uptake. So then 10% uptake really of 30% of all government procurement, it's very, very low. What it means in simple mathematics, if the whole government is using 50 billion, then we have only taken, and we have been given 30% of that 50 billion, then that means we only took the 10%. Yes, only 10% of that. Which is very, very low. It is actually extremely low. We can never go to His Excellency or the Parliament and start demanding for 50 if 30% is not even half of what is required.
And I think it's the information that people do not have, because I actually also didn't know that it is only government institution.
Oh, really?
I thought
interesting.
Only the county government.
I know.
That's where I used to train, and I went there and I got frustrated.
Yes, I know. I hear about those frustration stories every other day. I talk to the women, I talk to the youth, and they talk to me about, I'm frustrated. But I tell them, look, there is the power in numbers. Yes. Today, if a group of youths in Kerugoya, they have a systematic way of operations, I'm sure there's nobody who can frustrate you. But most of the time we want to go it alone because we think it's a secret. These things, it's not a secret. If you have an idea, the tenders are advertised openly. Let's say we are going to walk into that office and say we did 1, 2, 3, and if we fail, please tell us where we went wrong. So we don't do that follow-up to ensure that it's really helping us. Because you went alone, you went 1, 2 times, you failed, and you got tired. You gave up, and you said, to hell with the government.
I stopped even applying for those
You
things.
see?
I stopped. And you see, the most interesting bit is that I didn't know that.
Yes.
How about the young people who are out there who do not know? When you be coming back, you'll be talking about the 4 agendas of the government. I won't handle only one. Yes. According to IFED, they did a research some times back, and they said that women contribute to 80% of the labor force we get on our food production. How can we be able to empower those women?
You want us to talk now or after the break?
After the break.
Okay. All right.
Getting hot in here, and this is, I mean, when I'm coming back with that, I tell you, I'm going for the 30%. Don't go away. We'll be right back after the short break. before we left for the break, we were talking to Mary Mudoni, and she's telling us about the opportunities which are there. And I want us to touch on the 4 agendas of the government, and I want us to touch on the food security.
Specifically.
Yes, specifically, but I'll allow you, our next question, to touch on the others. Women contribute to 80% of the workforce.
Yes.
Are we empowering these women?
In terms of the four pillars the government is pushing, and women being known to be the pro-agriculture, there are very many ways that the government can really push to ensure that the woman is getting there. And one of it is through laws and legislations. In one way or another, we have our constitution stresses on traditions and culture because of the devolved structures and systems of government. The most powerful person is at the mashinani level, who is the MCA. He has been entrusted into coming up with acts and legislation in the assemblies to ensure that women and the youth and the special groups, they are comfortable when they are trading. So that challenge goes back to them, and that is how the government can assist these women. I'll also talk about the financing, because financing is one of the devils that has really, and it cuts across in women challenges. Even this morning, I was talking about financing for the women. Really, we need to see where do we get the money to ensure that the women are trading. We have the Women Enterprise Fund. We have the Youth Enterprise Fund. But I also keep challenging. And I hope when the bank is formed that this money goes specifically to the enterprise woman, the entrepreneur. Let's not give the money to anybody, because if it is called Women Enterprise Fund, then it should go to the woman who has the idea of trading. And if more women are in agriculture, they'll be empowered. We will have women going to coffee sector, to tea sector, to areas where the cash crop is also growing, and they will also be able to substitute for the food, you know, the subsistent cropping and all that. Capacity building. Sometimes we can say women are in agriculture, but do they have the new technologies of using so that they can ensure that there's more food produced from their farms? We have tilled our land for so long and it is tired. So we need to build capacity to these women to ensure that the education and training that is being done on them is empowering them, and the crops they're producing are going to be more. That can also allow them to get more money through exporting, encourage the inter and intra-county trading. At the end of the day, I'm in business. I'm very discouraged that if I want to trade with another county, there's a lot of cess, tax. You know, we need the government talking to each other, the governments talking to each other, counties speaking to each other. Let's remove these barriers so that we can enhance and leverage trade using that. And I'm sure that is where the women will also get helped. If you look at Kenya today, we are 16.5 million SMEs. 85% of that could be women, the youth, and maybe PWDs. So that's a very big percentage. It cannot be ignored. It cannot be ignored. So what do we do about it? Let's encourage the county assemblies to come up with legislations that are going to be very favorable for the women entrepreneurs on the ground and the woman farmer. When we talk about women farming, we only think about maize, we only think about beans, we only think about sorghum. We think about the basic things because the woman has been left. The opinion is the woman is the one who just produces the small cabbage at the... No, we need to get that opinion away from it. And for gender parity to work, we must be seen to intentionally move the woman to even crops that can be for export market. Because if she gets the money, she will be able to increase her produce at the end of the day. Yes.
And what about the other pillars, especially the manufacturing industry?
This is a sector that has been male-dominated for a very long time. But I would want to tell the women and that right now you don't have to own a big factory to be a manufacturer. You don't have to own those big machines to be called a manufacturer, to be in the manufacturing sector. Really, there are so many things that you can do in that value chain of agriculture or any other any other sector that you would want to do. If anything, what we are saying that these big manufacturing companies, they can also subcontract on the smaller function in the manufacturing industries to ensure you also leverage on the same and push up the capacity of the smaller woman who is coming up. I have very many women who I know who are producing their products in the balcony or even inside their houses. The beauty products, the soaps, there are very many women in this town. And all we can do is to ensure that we build capacity on that small woman to push her to a corporate level so that she does not stagnate in the small, in the SME level. If it is the startups, let them be pushed to come up to the SME level. And so, and with that, it is going to leave a lot of space for even the girls who are in the university to encourage them and see that it can be done by even the women. We need a lot of mentors in that sector. We need a lot of speaking to these young manufacturers so that they don't give up. The cost of electricity in this country is not very cheap. So is the cost of manufacturing. And that can really put people off. So let's have the conversation taking place. And it should take place from the caucuses that we hold. It should take place from the government level, from the private sector level, and from whatever other level that can influence so that the environment is really conducive. When you talk about investors, SDG 17 talks about partnerships. Let's encourage any investor coming into the country to partner with the small manufacturers so that they are able to benefit from the big manufacturers from outside the countries. There are bilaterals happening every other day. The president was with Djibouti the other day. I'm sure South Africa is coming. I mean, we have all the goodwill across the world. You see, we only need to tap into that because time is now. It's already ripe for Kenya. We need to take advantage of that to ensure these pillars are really going to be a strength and a push to our economy.
Yes, and when you talk about mentorship, what are you doing as an institution to help the young people who are out there? Because you have a menace of unemployment. It's really coming.
Yes, and unemployment is another conversation all over. That we may need to really look at it with a different lens. When the government came into play, I remember they were trying to really encourage the young boys and girls to move into entrepreneurship. And I think that is what we have been advancing, to encourage them not to sit and wait for white-collar jobs, because the white-collar jobs may not be forthcoming. You see, they have the papers, they have the bid. And we encourage a lot of innovation to ensure that the young people who are at home, they can be able to utilize on what is your passion. Yeah. Just start with that small, that if it's poems, if it's art, just start with that one that you feel pleases you. What is it that you do and you feel you're comfortable? Or you can sell it to the people and encourage yourself to join institutions that can propel you through quality networking. Because you don't sit down with your boys or your girls and you think that is quality networking. You have to get up and walk to where the people who have the knowledge and know-how on how to guide you are. Otherwise, it becomes very hard. So for us, we encourage people to come for our meetings, and especially the inbound trade missions when they are bilaterals. Any president who lands in this country always comes with the business community. Yeah. And you've seen the meetings happening around in town. Yeah. We are encouraging the young people to also get involved in what is happening at the county level. We have done a number of county investment forums. In Kirinyaga, there hasn't been one, so to speak, but I'm sure it's coming soon. I'm sure Madam is up to the task to do that. And through these forums, they have been able to get to these networks and are able to uplift themselves with the ideas that they already have. We have also encouraged the private sector to absorb the young graduates that are leaving college, because that is the only way you can get new ideas. With the dynamism of what is happening today, you can inject new blood into your companies, and that we have seen it happening through referrals. You know, I have to know you and then I refer you to somebody else. So we already create databases that can go to companies, because some, they don't have an employee and they would want maybe the chamber or myself to recommend. So, and we also create youth forums that we engage to ensure that we bring new people who are going to speak to them on an everyday basis for mentorship purposes. So through that, we have seen a lot of youths really getting interested in trading. That's number one, and also some getting jobs in the process. Yes.
And now with that, I think I'm tempted to ask on the bit of health sector.
Yes. Yes.
Don't you think women have a bigger role to play in that than men?
That is stereotyping. There is no pillar whereby a single gender has more role to play than the other.
And I would put it this way.
Yes.
In the health sector, in the 4 pillars,
yes.
On the health side, I think women have a bigger uptake. They need to be involved so much, because most of the diseases they usually affect those women back in the village. And you see, most of them do know about NHIF. Actually, my mother took an NHIF card the other day. She's not been brought up with NHIF cards, and you see, that's a lesson that these people need to be taught, and county governments need to come up with strategies too.
I get your question, and I was going there, and I'll tell you, I'll still repeat that there is no pillar, which is separately or can be seen with one single gender lens. Yeah, because if it is cancer, it's getting to the men and it's getting to the women.
Sure.
If it is, the only thing we can speak differently is about pregnancy, which is not sickness.
Yes, that's not sickness.
That is not sickness.
Yes.
So when we talk about being pregnant, we have programs that are already there. The Linda Mama program, you know, and Her Excellency the First Lady has really, really championed this through the Beyond Zero campaign, which has seen the women really comfortable in terms of when they are going for delivery and even after delivery. So when you talk about health issues, it goes back to the society. The society, what's your eating habits? How have you secured your family in case of any calamity? My own sister died the other day from cancer. She didn't have NHIF when she was admitted to hospital. It's as serious as that. You see, so when the government comes to play and says, please, take this as a family, pay this amount of money, and when you walk to hospital, you'll be able to be treated. That is the first thing that we should think about. Because when you are sick, you cannot even trade. You won't do that agriculture we are talking about. You'll go back home and you'll die there. And we will be left with your farm. You see? That's not the kind of move that we want. So the NHIF card is a must pick. Is a must pick for everybody. Anybody who exists in this country is a must pick. wamama na NHIF, that has to ring in the minds of the women.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying separately that the men should be left behind.
No.
All we are saying is we have more proactive women in the building of the economy than the rest of the gender and all that. And we have to keep reminding them that if you want to continue being proactive, if you want to continue being strong, then you must take care of yourself. If it is the issues of long-term illnesses, you must be checked in advance so that you don't have a doubt that things are working well with you. We have hospitals back in the counties. Let the doctor just get a feel of who you are as a person and give you a clean bill of health. So really, the health department is one very important pillar, and we can't just champion it for the women.
No.
We champion for the whole family, whether it's a child, a youth, the father, or the mother. Yes.
And on the other one, let's not leave it out. Just touch it a little bit.
Yes.
If a minute or two. The building, the construction, the issues of housing.
Yes.
I've seen women
Yes.
coming up.
Yes.
dramatic,
Yes.
coming
Yes.
up
Yes.
with real estate.
I told you this. My mandate as the chair of the Women in Business is to see, one, we have more women at the corporate level, the level of Tabitha, big companies that have a huge turnover at the end of the year. The second one is to move women into the male-dominated areas.
Yeah.
Let women go into construction.
Yes.
We have very many graduates who are coming out every other day. So where are they going? Can we see them more proactive in women activities? We have women who can do construction. If you go to India, if those the people who do the manual, the wage, the women, you see, you would see programs of women lined up and stone after they pass to one another until a building comes to the fore. But it is not just in the main construction. We also have architecture, women who are in architectural designs, women who are in the normal engineering, women who are in water work, women who are in road work, you see. And if this is encouraged through legislation, even in the counties, it can really become an exciting venture. And any gender can do as better as the other gender. That does not mean that women are taking over the world. What we are saying is that a combined force, it makes a better move.
I'd like you to repeat that. that statement is combined.
Yeah.
Combined.
If you want to walk fast, walk alone. And for sure, you will run and you will be very fast.
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
But if you want to go far, you must walk with others. If you want to go really to Thika today, it is very far. You will walk with others and you will get there. But if you want to go and by the time you're in Roiro, you've burnt out, then walk alone. That's precisely what I'm talking about. We cannot have men moving forward and leaving the women behind. It's just like what Obama said. It's like having two teams, football teams, but one of the teams is not in the field. How do you play? Yeah?
Can't win.
You
There's
can't
no
win.
game.
There's no game. So we have to play a more inclusive role in terms of engaging somebody. My husband is a civil servant. I am in business. So at the end of the day, he has something to sharpen me with. And at the end of the day, I have something that I can sharpen him with. That's what we are talking about.
That's what we need in the world.
And that's what we need in the world for anything to
For everything to go on.
But there is, women are not in the agenda of taking over the world. It is just encouraging that people to work together because the dynamism in the world has caught up with us, and we have to move this country forward.
Wow.
Yes.
We've actually come to the end of our show, and I'm telling you that minutes are not enough. We need more of this. And Madam Mary, thank you very much.
Thank you
Nice
too.
having you.
Thank you too.
And our viewers at home, continue sending your requests and your comments, what you'd like us to talk about. We've actually come to the end of the show. Until next week, God bless you.
Wow.
Thank you.